Welcome to part 2 of creating your COVID cocoon. In part 1, we talked about reducing the negativity and emotional energy leaks around you. If you haven't seen part 1, go back and watch it after this one. In this episode, I want to talk about bringing a little more joy into your routine. Aristotle said, "Nature abhors a vacuum." So as you reduce the negative influences in your life, you want to replace them with something positive and enjoyable. Remember, the goal is to create an environment, a healing cocoon that will help you nurture your body, mind, and spirit. I know that at first it may seem counterintuitive to talk about being happy when you're in pain or exhausted. I was more than a little skeptical about this concept when I first heard it. At the time, I was in constant pain with fibromyalgia. When a therapist first suggested it to me, I pushed back, asking how I was supposed to be happy when I was in pain. Then she said something that has stayed with me ever since. She said, "The fact is, you've got chronic pain. You're going to be in pain whether you're sitting in your apartment or sitting in the park. If you're going to be in pain anyway, why not do something that might bring you a little pleasure?" Those simple words changed my life. Not instantly, but over a period of time. That practice, combined with a number of other things that I'll tell you about in future episodes, transformed my life, and eventually my fibromyalgia symptoms faded away. That's not to say traditional medicine didn't play a role. I'm talking about things you can do in addition to medical treatment. It turns out that happiness is scientifically proven to be good for your health. As a matter of fact, a large body of evidence now supports it. An article on the well-respected Northwestern Medicine website reports that happiness lowers your risk for cardiovascular disease, enables better sleep, lowers your blood pressure, improves your diet, helps you maintain normal body weight, and reduces stress. It also extends your life expectancy 7 to 10 years, according to one study. When we're not feeling well and our energy is low, we tend to cut out what we feel are optional activities, which are usually the enjoyable ones, and focus on necessary chores, the tasks that need to be done, which may not give us any emotional lift. That habit of doing only what needs to be done may not do any harm for a short period of time. But if fun is squeezed out for months or longer, it'll turn your life into drudgery and will be counterproductive to physical and mental health. Health requires balance. If we go back to the plant analogy from episode 1, all work and no play is like soil that's too acidic. I heard someone else describe it as breathing out all the time without breathing in. You may remember when I talked about reducing the negativity in the last episode. I said you don't need to make huge changes to make a difference. Adding joy is the same. You don't need to spend a lot of time or money on activities that make you happy. I'm talking about simple things you can incorporate into your daily life that will lift your spirits. Once again, the important thing is to notice how you feel when you start something and how you feel when you're done. Given that you're not well at the moment, there may be nothing that can make you feel extreme joy right now. The goal is to feel a little better than you did before. You've probably heard the old adage, laughter is the best medicine. Norm Cousins, the late journalist and author of Anatomy of an Illness, got a life-threatening diagnosis back in 1964. Not happy with the prognosis, he decided to immerse himself in watching comedy reruns and reading humorous articles during his extended hospital stay. He found that 10 minutes of laughing gave him 2 hours of pain relief and sound sleep. After his recovery, he launched a second career researching and studying the biochemistry of emotions. Who or what makes you laugh out loud? If you're busy and worried about adding time-consuming activities to your life, think about ways you can incorporate more joy into things you're already doing. For example, if you have a chore you don't particularly enjoy, like cleaning or paying bills, turn on your favorite music or podcast while doing it, something that makes you feel good. Nostalgia releases endorphins, so try playing music that brings back memories of good times. Suddenly, the emotional drain of the chore is offset by the pleasure of the music. I remember someone telling me he hated when he had a slew of business calls to return Friday afternoons before he could start his weekend. So he started going home and making the calls from his hot tub. These days we need to add a caveat to turn off the camera if you're on Zoom. Anyway, it made one of his least favorite things to do, something he looked forward to every week. Another way to replace negativity with positivity is, if you're going to watch a movie or binge watch a series, don't watch something that's going to drag you down emotionally. Choose a comedy or inspiring drama instead of a depressing documentary or something with lots of violence. When I'm feeling low, I admit I sometimes resort to watching Hallmark movies. Are they corny and predictable? Absolutely. But they always have a happy ending, and I always feel better and more hopeful after watching them. What's your guilty pleasure? What are your favorite movies of all time? What series or classes might inspire you? Maybe for you it's a cooking show, travel channel, or an online master class. Whatever it is, try to find some time for it. If you put your mind to it, you can probably come up with dozens of little things you can do that will bring a little happiness into your life. It can be as simple as sitting in your garden or on your balcony with a cup of tea, or taking a bath with scented candles and a good book. Another one of my happy hacks is to take a little drive in the country. I love the wind blowing in my hair, and I can turn up my favorite classic rock and sing my heart out without offending anybody. Just for a little while I can forget that I didn't sleep the night before or that my legs hurt. I feel alive. Now, given the price of gas, I may switch my drives to parking by the lake and watching the water, but the joy is the same. What makes you feel alive? What soothes your weary soul? Do you like coloring, painting, knitting, or some other craft? What do you like to read? Remember, the focus is on activities that make you feel lighter and happier. Mornings used to be a rough time for me. So what I've started doing is waking up and spending 10 minutes playing with my dog before I even get out of bed. Rubbing his belly and cuddling with him just starts the day on the right foot. Sometimes I listen to a motivational YouTube video or TED Talk at the same time. I've noticed that without exception, my days go better when I make the effort to start them in a positive state of mind. And taking that extra time in the morning seems to make me more productive the rest of the day. The things that lighten your mood don't even need to be activities per se. We have lots of perennials in our garden, and my husband will often bring in some of them when he's gardening. I put them in a vase and place it where I can see them and smell them throughout the day. Now that I have my sense of smell back. It's a little thing, but it brings a little bit of happiness to my day. Maybe you like scented candles or potpourri or incense, or maybe you like the smell of a nice moisturizer or hand soap. The smell of coconut brings me back to a vacation in Hawaii, and that makes me happy. What smells make you happy? In the last episode, I talked about reducing contact with people that drain you emotionally. The flip side of that coin is increasing the time you spend talking to people who uplift you. I love spending time with my husband, but I also know how important it is for me to spend time with other women. I went out for a girls' weekend last year, a few months after being diagnosed with long COVID. Nothing particularly exciting, just a few women who rented a cottage and hung out together for a few days. We watched chick flicks and played board games and ate really well. We talked about everything from careers and kids to dreams and insomnia. I came back after that weekend feeling better emotionally and physically than I had in months. It was good for my soul. Now I make a point of connecting more with friends. Sometimes by text or by phone, sometimes by meeting for a coffee at my favorite cafe or going for lunch. It's easy to isolate when you're not feeling well, and we're still in a pandemic. But try to find a way to meet your needs for connection. Think about people who you feel good around, maybe people you haven't spoken to in a while. Consider reaching out and connecting. So your assignment for this week, should you wish to accept it, is to come up with a list of things you can do to bring some joy, happiness, and maybe even some laughter into your life, and start to do them. You should be able to come up with at least a dozen. Start by thinking about each of your senses. What smells do you like? What do you like to listen to? What do you enjoy looking at? What is your favorite meal? Can you add a little more fun to your diet? What uplifting activities can you do while respecting your physical limitations? Maybe things you haven't done in years, or something you've wanted to do but haven't gotten around to yet. Who do you enjoy talking to? Drop a note below with your comments and happiness hacks. Your idea might inspire someone else. Thanks for watching. In the next episode, I'm going to share a radical idea, a bit of a crazy challenge for reducing an energy leak most of us have in our life. It's an experiment I'm going to invite you to try. Curious yet? Be sure to tune in for it. If you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss future episodes. Your support will help me get this message out to other people who may need it. Until next time, be kind to yourself and each other.